Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the episode 2 of Spycade. And today I'm going to flip the script and I'm going to go in the other direction. I'm going to look at some book-to-screen adaptations. And I'm going to start with the first of 2 Tom Clancy movies that I haven't seen up until now. And the first is The Sum of All Fears. This movie came out in 2002. I remember all the hype about it. I remember seeing the teaser trailers on TV, and I was like, wow. I was kind of blown away as well as terrified because, if memory serves me well, this movie came out 9 months after the events of 9/11. So, yeah, so I remember that being in the back of my mind. So I'm like, how is this going to fare well? But, of course, I'm going to get into that in about a moment. But for the uninitiated, obviously this is yet another Jack Ryan story, but this one was technically a reboot because by this point, Harrison Ford had already retired from the role. Same with Alec Baldwin. But Alec Baldwin recommended Ben Affleck to the director, and and the rest of they say is history. And according to legend, Tom Clancy actually enjoyed Ben Affleck's performance in this movie, and I kind of agree and disagree with him at this point, knowing that what we know about Affleck nowadays. But back then, he was just a rising star. And of course, I use the term young Jack Ryan because I'm like, wait a minute. He's literally this. They got another actor. Here's the thing. Well, Timothy, you didn't know, but Baldwin was roughly 32 when he did Hunt for October. Here, Ben Affleck is about 30. So I'm like, young. He's roughly the same age, but still, you could have gotten a younger actor to portray a young version of Jack Ryan. But of course, we're gonna get to Shadow Recruit another time. That's for another day. But here, I mean, I get what they were trying to go with this. They wanted someone that whose stock was very unknown and was about to rise. And of course, at this point, he had already done Good Will Hunting and all all those projects. So hey, why not? And I feel like Ben Affleck did his job there. But of course, I find to be a little unbelievable at times in the role. But as far as the story goes, this Tom Clancy story kind of deviates a little bit from the novel. A lot, I mean, not little, a lot, I would say, because the original novel had to deal with Islamic extremists, and they changed that to neo-Nazis for the movie because, as I mentioned, this movie came out 9 months after 9/11, so obviously sensitive to make things more sensitive and not cause an international incident. I get where they were going with that. Also, there was the book was set 50 years prior. So wait a minute. So they decided to update and modernize it and then make it essentially a soft reboot. So that explains why this feels a little different from all the other Jack Ryans. All right. But I will admit what they did to get around some of the actual plot devices from the book, I think was clever. But they still kept it to the same spirit that Tom Clancy wanted, and I think they did the way they wanted. And with all this devices, the plot, and the good stuff that they did, that definitely felt like something that you would expect in all the other movies. And I felt that was the one thing that I did enjoy about this movie. But everyone's got to remember the one thing, our big star of this movie is, of course, that digitally enhanced nuclear explosion, which is, and the more I've watched that scene, it's scary to think about that. That nuclear bomb could have gone off, and you could felt the shockwave for miles. Now, think about this: that bomb went off in Baltimore. We're in the backyard of Philadelphia. Technically, we could have felt a shockwave. We could have felt something happen if that was the case. But yeah, it's scary to think about what happened there. But man, those visual effects were just absolutely great and terrifying at the same time. Just when you look at that scope and the magnitude of that part of the story. But as far outside of Ben Affleck, I will admit, another guy that steals the show is definitely Morgan Freeman. Even though his character dies halfway through the movie, he plays William Cabot, and he's essentially like a member of the CIA. But yeah, what is it with Morgan Freeman and playing characters like this or positions of power? Man, he was just bred for this kind of role. But of course, then again, he played the president in Deep Impact. So yeah. Can I say? Need I say more about that? All right. But everything else, I mean, felt pretty cool. It was cool to see Liv Schreiber playing that field activist John Clark. That was pretty cool. Let's see. And then of course James Cromwell played the president. And then of course seeing people are familiar faces like Bruce McGill from Buddy and My Cousin Vinny was a pretty cool trick and all that. So yeah, we get all these good players and like getting that feel. You know, you're in for a treat and in for a good time. But is it as good as any others? I'm going to say this is right with my shred of honesty. Replay for me is very low because personally I enjoyed Patriot games. I enjoyed Clear and Present Danger more than Hunt for October and this one. Okay, but of course, again, that might be my soft spot for Harrison Ford. But then again, that's just my preference when it comes to the world of Tom Clancy and, of course, our favorite CIA operative or analyst, Jack Ryan. And, of course, again, they had to go back to making a reboot. That way they can introduce to another age. I mean, realistically, this movie did good at the box office, but you could definitely tell, some critics didn't really like how things panned out. But either or, I'm again, Tom Clancy had a vision. And Paramount ran with it. They changed things up, and they still kept it in that same vein. But obviously, know what we know now. Like you can definitely tell, it wouldn't hit one of. I think just timing was just not right. Was not well received. If that makes sense, because again, when 9/11 happened, and it changed the world. Just saying. So, yeah, thinking about all the espionage and all the international incidents and culture. Again, I could go on and on. But the core of this is that Some of All Fears is a decent Jack Ryan adaptation, a decent Jack Ryan pseudo reboot. It works there. But again, it depends on how well you prefer your Jack Ryan. Okay, if you like Harrison Ford, you like the Harrison Ford. If you like Ben Affleck, it's for you. Okay. If not, I'd say take a pass on it. All right. So with that in mind, I'm going to give The Sum of All Fears, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. That's as best as I'm going to give. All right. So that does it for today. I don't know what you think. You can watch this. It is available on Paramount. Okay. So thumbs up the video, subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned for some more awesome, exciting content.